Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. Recently I had a guide trip out on Lake Fork where my clients caught most of their fish on a Carolina rig. It's the spring of the year, and of course we want to be going out there and throwing swim baits, square bills, bladed jigs, flipping and pitching, just, big Bubba type baits. But there are times when they just won't hit that stuff. The lake had gotten a lot of pressure, had a big tournament there, and it's the spring, so it's just getting a ton of pressure. So I want to give you some tips and tricks for getting more bites with the Carolina rig. The Carolina rig just gets overlooked because people want to throw those baits that are more full contact. They're just funner baits to throw than a Carolina rig. Carolina rig, you throw it out there, let it sink to the bottom, and you just drag it back with the rod tip. Drag it back, you let it pause for a second. But it just gets bit, specifically when fish are not very aggressive, and they weren't. So I want to give you some tips and tricks that have been passed over to me and things that have worked for me over the years so that you can get more bites when fishing a Carolina rig. Number one, the rigging of it. A lot of guys want to use a really heavy line, and a lot of times you got to use heavy line because you're fishing around some type of cover, whether it's timber or heavy rock, what have you. But I would suggest the lightest line possible. If you're fishing 20, maybe step it down to 16. I'm gonna go with fluorocarbon, and then I'm gonna go with a tungsten weight. Tungsten weight helps transmit more of the bottom composition up the line to your rod so you know what it felt like when you get a bite. So tungsten weight, real important. This is a Strike King Tour grade tungsten weight barrel weight. And then a bead. Every Carolina rig has a bead. Got a bead on there, and a clacker. A clacker puts out noise when you're pulling it, and try to let you hear that. Just the clacking of the bead against the clacker makes some noise, gets the fish's attention. And then, like a number 7, a good size barrel swivel, and then I'm gonna lighten up my leader. If I'm fishing 20, then I might go to 16. If I'm fishing 16-pound test leader, I might go to 14. I might even go to 12. 24 to 36 inch leader length. Sometimes I've gone as far as like 4 to 6 feet in length. I don't necessarily think it's all that important this time of year, but play with your leader lengths. It can be important to the fish. A lighter wire hook. This is a 3/0 owner all-purpose hook. This is more of a medium to medium heavy wire hook. But I want a lighter wire hook, not a real heavy one like your traditional offset wide gap, where you have a XXX strong, versus more of a medium wire hook in my right hand with just the owner all-purpose hook. And that all-purpose hook, that lighter weight, doesn't bog down the bait. The heaviness of the hook as you're dragging it along, just a little bit more natural as it scoots across the bottom when you're dragging that Carolina rig. So that's the rigging of it. Some tips on that, on how to get a few more bites and bring the attention of the fish to your bait. So now let's get into some baits. My favorite bait for Carolina rigging is a Strike King Game Hog. These bush or brush hog type baits are just tremendous because the appendages, as you're dragging them across the bottom, get a lot of action, the water going across them. Catches all 3 species, works anywhere in the country, 12 months of the year. I think you've got to have a brush hog type bait. The Strike King Game Hog is a great one. The next one, you got to have a French fry type bait. There's times when too much action doesn't get it done, so less action is what we'll gravitate towards. This is a Strike King Super Fry. There's lots of French fry type baits out there, but something with not a lot of action as you drag it through the water column is great. This one has ribs, so it has a little bit more resistance as you pull it, but a do nothing type bait like this on a Carolina rig with that medium wire hook just does tremendously well at getting bites when fish don't want something with a lot of action, or when the bite's tough. Little just bait like that works great. One that's caught a lot of fish for me over the years is a finesse worm. Just a 6.5 inch finesse worm, green pumpkin. On all these baits, I like my more natural colors: watermelon, watermelon red, green pumpkin, your green pumpkin candies. That kind of stuff works really well. Oh, and on the French fry, a chartreuse pepper is a killer. Chartreuse pepper Totally not natural. Don't know why they like it. They love it. And it probably would work in the finesse worm, but I kind of just get it when I'm fishing the French fry type bait. I also catch them on fluke type baits. It just depends, but those are 3 baits that I feel like will get you more bites when the fishing's tough, a lot of pressure on the water, springtime of the year, the Carolina rig gets overlooked, you find yourself out on the water, not getting a lot of bites. Reach for the Carolina rig, downsize your line a little bit, heavier tungsten weight, crisper action, crisper feel when you're feeling the bottom. The ticker, the lighter leader, the lighter hook, just gets you so much more bites, gets you so many more actions, gets your baits more noticed as you're pulling them across the bottom. The Carolina rig also works well in the pre-spawn. During the spawn, believe it or not, I don't typically throw it a lot during the spawn. There's other baits that I like to throw, but works well in the spawn. You throw it up in the shallow areas, specifically where you can't see the bedding fish, it gets bit. It's a great way to catch them. Inside grass lines, secondary points, pockets, in the coves. You might even have to lighten up your weight to say a 1/2 ounce or a Mojo style sinker, or just maybe go to more of maybe a 1/2 ounce bullet weight on the front of it. You may need to lighten up. That may be something to take into consideration. But these are some tips. These are some things that I know work for myself and other anglers and can get you a lot more bites when you're on the water. That's it really for now, guys. Just a quick video that goes over some tips and tricks on how to get more bites on a Carolina rig, specifically when the fishing's a little tough. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. And until next time, good fishing.